Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Titanic Talks. It is I, Titanic Sinclair. I believe this is episode 29, which is kind of insane to think that there's almost 30 hours of me just talking on the internet. Pretty strange. How are you? I hope you're doing well. It's been another exciting week in the life of Titanic Sinclair. We are wearing linen today. Why? Because it's 100 degrees. And the only way, even in air conditioning, to wear a jacket or a suit in 100-degree weather is linen. I feel like I should be on a boat eating sliders or oysters whenever I wear linen. I don't think I'm 36 years old. I don't think I owned any clothing made out of linen knowingly until this year. And why did I buy it? Because I'm a Mai Tai guy. We're going to be finishing the Mai Tai Guys album pretty quick here. I just need to get a couple little bells and whistles on that. And I think it would be good just to drop the whole album and then do some more music videos for that. It's such a fun project. Whenever I do something, whenever I create something that is with the intention of being goofy or just lighthearted, I tend to have the most fun. Imagine that, right? When you make a lot of things, I tend to categorize the things that I make in my head, at least. Like, oh, this one's serious. This one's not serious. And with the goofier projects, songs, videos, I always find myself trying different and new things. And with the Mai Tai Guy stuff, I never, as an adult, listened to Toto or Steely Dan. Steely Dan used to be my go-to, like, oh, that's old guy music. That's dad music. And here we are. Listened to Asia by Steely Dan for the first time. Completely blew me away. And I'd say for a couple months, it was all that I listened to. And I just got a photo of my son. He's out shopping with his mama. And he's getting a pair of Adidas shoes, and they're very small. Love it. Too cute. I love being a dad. Sometimes you meet people and they're like, yeah, it gets frustrating, but you meet people and it's just like, man, why did you have a child or multiple children if you don't really... I don't get that. To me, it's like this, it's like a light switch, like some sort of biological light switch went off. The second I saw him, I was right there, saw everything. It was intense. It was beautiful. But never seen anything like that before. And I was like looking around at like the nurses and the doctors in the room while everything was going on. And just like, I don't think, if I saw this like every day, I still think every time I witnessed a birth, I'd just be like, huh? I guess you get accustomed to it. Anyway, do you say Adidas or Adidas? First time I went to Europe, everyone said Adidas. I think that's how you're supposed to say it. Could be wrong. Adidas. Makes me think of like adios. Anyway, so my son apparently is getting a new pair of shoes. That is fun. He wore shoes for the first time willingly a couple days ago, and it was in a Target. It was the most adorable thing I've ever seen. He actually took to them. You know, I have a whole assortment of baby shoes. Got him some like little tiny cowboy boots and Birkenstocks. And he's already outgrown them before he even wore them. If you're about to have a child, I would say make use of secondhand stores because the clothes are going to get messy. And every time I go to the store, I buy him something. He has every toy. Think of a toy. He has it. His newest one is a Bobcat that he can drive. And it brings me joy. I realized the other day I had to go to the doctor. Unfortunately, I think last week maybe I mentioned I was feeling sick, and I ended up getting. I thought I was getting better. I ended up getting like much sicker, and was scared it might be strep throat. It wasn't. Luckily, don't want to have strep throat with a tiny little man. And I just ended up getting steroids. It was some sort of throat thing. In the middle of the summer, how's that happen? I don't know. Probably because I've only been in air conditioning. It's been 100 degrees every day down here in Texas. And I guess that's normal? No? Could be what's going on. Wow, we're really starting off strong here, aren't we? But I was going to say when I was sitting alone in the doctor's office on the paper, I realized I had a song stuck in my head, and the song was, "Can you say mama? Can you say mama's name?" And earlier today, I caught myself singing "The Wheels on the Bus." All I listen to now are nursery rhymes, and they get stuck in your head, earworms. Hopefully that will rub off in I wonder if it has in the songs I've been writing. I've been writing again, which is good. Just finished an album for my main man, Caleb Hutchinson, and I think it is really good. I'm excited for you to hear it. It is an incredible thing making music, writing music, and producing music with someone who's really talented. He's amazing. What a voice on that lovely human being. Can't wait for you to hear the songs that we made, though. Really fun stuff. And it's I haven't been this excited about something in years, actually. It feels important. Water tastes better when you drink it out of glass, right? You want to know my biggest pet peeve in the world? Drinking cold water out of a coffee mug. Nope. Can't do it. I don't know why. Everyone's got their thing. And mine is drinking. The other thing I don't recommend, for some reason, like, it seems like every time everywhere I go in like New York City, they're always serving water in those steel cups, aluminum perhaps, and I always feel like I'm going to cut my mouth. You see that a lot in like Silver Lake in LA. It's like the people who are like designing the restaurant. They're like, yeah, but we're hip, so we have to have like the grass on the wall with a neon sign in front of the grass, and the cups have to be metal. Get with the program, cool restaurants. If I had a restaurant, it would not have metal cups, is what I'm saying. Maybe do the grass on the wall with the neon sign. It's funny how like trends. Someone was the first to do that. Put the grass on the wall, neon sign, metal cups. And then everyone just follows suit. Interesting how that works. I saw Barbie. It's one of those movies that you can't. It was like a Big Mac. The Big Mac, it tastes good. And people are always, oh, I don't eat McDonald's. I used to be like that. I don't eat McDonald's. And then you eat it. I ate it after years of being I don't eat McDonald's person. I was like, wow, this is really good. That's how I felt about the Barbie movie. It felt like a movie that was designed to be, it was very visually stimulating. And it's exactly what I imagined a movie about Barbie would look like. Not in love with the casting. Really, the thing that kind of disappointed me the most, I felt like Will Ferrell was just kind of like hamming it in. Maybe he was having a bad day. It almost like Will Ferrell now, who I think is one of the funniest people ever, especially his Saturday Night Live characters and performances. There's some legendary moments with him. I grew up loving his movies, but it's almost like Wes Anderson, where it's like Will Ferrell has become a caricature of Will Ferrell. And as far as movies go, I mean, what do I know? But like, why does every movie have to be a lecture? When are they going to realize that people don't want to be yelled at when they're watching a movie? I understand I'm not the target audience for Barbie. I wanted to see Oppenheimer. They're screening it in 70 millimeter film down here. We're lucky enough to have one of the IMAX theaters, and it has been sold out. Even on Monday, I was like, oh, maybe we'll go Monday. It'll be empty. Nope, sold out. Kind of cool though that there's excitement. It's like the biggest weekend for movies in a while, it seems. And I'm if you're a longtime viewer / listener here, you know how much I love movie theaters, and it seemed like for a while there they might be going by the wayside, as they say. It's a fun time. What did you think about Barbie? There was this whole, no spoilers. How are you going to spoil the Barbie movie? She's Barbie. Everything's going to be okay. But they had this whole angle. There's this really at the like the climax of the movie. We follow this mother throughout, and she's in Barbie world, and gives them this whole speech about basically how terrible it is to be a woman, kind of. But the whole time I was listening to the things that this character was saying about how difficult it is, the whole time I was just kind of thinking, like, everything that she's saying could be applied to anyone. And it's supposed to be this like big triumphant moment, and at the end of it, I was kind of like looking around like, I feel like that. Maybe that was the point. It certainly wasn't angled that way. And of course, you've got all of the super far right people are up in arms about it, burning Barbies and whatnot, as if that's going to change anything. It's just, I don't know. It doesn't seem like the average person, regardless of gender, age, background, skin color. It's like, what happened to movies just being entertaining? I just think in 10 years, we're going to look back at like 2016 to now. Seems like it's kind of winding down, you know. When I was young, when I was in high school and I was really fired up, I was like, oh, I want to be a director. And I would have all these like grandiose ideas. And this is before really Disney started doing like all the remakes and stuff. And I thought it'd be super edgy. I was like, oh man, how crazy. I want to direct like a new version of The Little Mermaid, but have like no white people in it. and pretty much someone did it. Man, I would have loved to be able to make a new Little Mermaid. That's not gonna happen. Had to have a laugh about this Doja Cat stuff. Man, she really doesn't like her fans, does she? Doja Cat reportedly loses over 250,000 Instagram followers after slamming her, quote, creepy fans. Man, here's a little marketing advice, Doja Cat. Don't do that. If you call yourself a kitten or kittens, that means you need to get off your phone and get a job and help your parents with the house, she says. She seems like someone who probably isn't that fun to hang out with. You know, with social media, unfortunately, in my experience, a large amount of well-known people who have lots of fans, they tend to really not care about the people who make them millions of dollars. It's been happening forever. I'd go as far to say people I know well are resentful. Is that the right word? Resentful? Yeah. Which is a weird thing, you know. apparently like Taylor Swift fans were got her attention and basically said, hey, like you wouldn't be anything without the fans. And she said, nobody forced you. Why you're talking to me like you're my mother? Expletive. You sound like a crazy person. Whew. Hey, Doja Cat's manager. What do you think about that? There's this whole thing, outrage marketing. Maybe there's some genius behind this. I don't think so. You can't. I've seen the videos of her like hamming it in with her doing the dance. Have you seen that video? It's viral a while ago. It's like you could be working at Wendy's. Is it that hard for 45 minutes to an hour, like 3 times a week, to just sing the song and do the dance? I mean, I get it. On an obviously much smaller scale, but I spent like 4 years straight, like pretty much touring and doing press. Yeah, it does. It kind of drives you crazy. Yeah, but at least I was always able to be like, well, I also used to work at Chuck E. Cheese. I was Chuck E. Cheese. Wore the suit. Do you think the suit smelled good? It didn't. Kids pulled on the tail, the whole thing. It was kind of fun, actually. Makes you wonder, like, Doja Cat, makes you wonder, like, what her parents are like. That's where my head goes. My parents would be so upset with me if I said that publicly. Behind closed doors, I've heard a lot. I've heard a lot of people with fans, poo-poo on them. And it just rubbed me the wrong way, but she's just coming right on out and saying it. And losing 250,000 Instagram followers. So we'll see how good it sounds like she's done. But that's like the person who, it's like you signed up for this. Did you really not know? When did she pop off? Like 2018? You really thought, like, to me, it's like, if you're going to go and sing songs you didn't write that are produced by some top producer and do all of the stuff, it is near impossible to get to the privileged position, the ultimate position of privilege, really. And you can't convince me that it's that bad. Where I come from, we call people like that a yo-yo. Weird time to be a Doja Cat fan. I like some of that. I thought that Say So song was an absolute slammer. Who produced that? Dr. Luke. People have opinions about Dr. Luke. I met him once. he was very nice. Very cool. I didn't know he was Dr. Luke until after I talked to him. Someone was like, hey, that's Dr. Luke. And I was like, oh, man. Probably could have asked some better questions. Back then, that's in Hollywood. I probably just talked about myself the whole time. Never tell the story. My friends and I, when I was in my Hollywood bad boy phase, we would go out to all these clubs and cool Hollywood parties, and we would play this game where we were only allowed to say why, I know, and damn. It was the why, I know, damn game. And we would see how long we could carry a conversation with someone at these Hollywood parties only saying that. And it started off as a joke. We did this for like a whole summer. And you would just... people would just talk at you. You could probably get away with that in most places, but certainly in Hollywood, it was a fun social experiment. We would also do the thing, too, where if you're talking to someone and it's not going well out of the gate, you give them a fake name. So that way, in the future, if you run into them again and they say your fake name, like, oh, hey, I had an unpleasant run-in with this person at one point. I don't do that stuff anymore. That's going back quite a while. Dr. Luke produced Say So. I mean, Dr. Luke and Max Martin, they know how to make hits. I have a lot of the Dr. Luke drum samples. Producers kind of share that kind of stuff sometimes. I don't think I've ever used them in anything that I've released that I know of. Maybe. Full disclosure, there's a deadmau5 sample, a drum sample. Not on my music, but music I've made for other people, and it's in 75% of at least one artist's catalog. Really good sample. I wonder if the AI will get to the point, I'm sure it will eventually, where they can just recognize like the exact frequency. It's one thing with the sample if there's a melody, that's where like lawsuits come in. Aside from that, what was it? The Marvin Gaye? Was it Marvin Gaye? What was the Robin Thicke? Blurred Lines, that big lawsuit that they lost. And there wasn't a melody or a hook or a distinguishable chunk, like a sample, but they sued for the vibe. And yeah, it's a similar vibe, but also that was scary. I mean, pretty much everyone I know in the music industry was pretty freaked out when that happened. And more recently, it was Ed Sheeran. Was it the same estate that was suing Ed Sheeran? There goes my telephone. Lawsuit. Ed Sheeran's lawsuit. So he won the copyright infringement lawsuit. Marvin Gaye. Was Blurred Lines? It was Marvin Gaye. That's got to be weird to be. I mean, he died in the 80s. He died in 1984. And decades later, I don't know if it's his family or whoever manages his estate or potentially his publishers. I'm not sure who the details, but 2 really high profile lawsuits, game changer lawsuits, really, in the music business. And the guy's been dead since before I was born. It seems gross. The whole like copyright infringement thing. Believe you me, I know a lot about that. Someone came after us once. At one point we were selling these jumpsuits. It's just a pink jumpsuit with a logo on it. And someone came after us, like saying we like stole the idea. And it's like we had approached them to like supply the jumpsuits that we were going to put the logo on and sell. And they had quoted us something like astronomical. And we're like, well, there's like 50 other places we can just get a pink jumpsuit. They're, of a similar quality. And anyway, they tried coming after us saying that they invented the pink jumpsuit. It's like, hey, I'm not ripping you off. I'm ripping off Slipknot. They used to have those orange or red jumpsuits. I was like, well, hey, that was cool. When you have a big following, everyone loves them. I wear band merch, You want to be proud of the music that you like and show other people, and then you see someone out in the wild and they've got a shirt of a band that you like, especially if it's kind of obscure, and you're like, oh, hey, cool. I like that too. But I always felt weird about just like regular, just like a t-shirt. So I'm always looking for more unique ways. And that wasn't even, I didn't think that was that unique of an idea, but everyone got mad. Everyone's always mad about something. Most of the time they're Taylor Swift fans. Can we all agree Olivia Rodrigo is like way better than Taylor Swift? That should get the kiddos activated. I was driving, I had a long drive, and I was listening to just like a modern pop playlist. And I hadn't heard really any of the newer Taylor Swift music outside of, being in like a Target. Target doesn't play music, do they? I don't think they do. Weird. Walmart plays music. I know I've heard Taylor Swift at Walmart. And so I was like, I want to hear what this new Taylor Swift music sounds like. And Karma came on. Have you heard this song? And it just seems like she seems like the person, I only met her once very briefly. She was nice. But her persona in her music and her videos, she seems like she really, really cares about appearing cool. And with cool people I know and have met, they're just cool. Either you're cool or you're not. Taylor, it's okay to be Taylor Swift. Everyone will love you just as much. But man, this Karma song, first of all, it reminded me of, what was that? Were they Brazilian? CCS? Music is my boyfriend. Music is my great-granddaughter. Music is my king-size bed. It reminded me of that. And I think most people would agree that's a cool song. CSS. Music is my hot, sweat. If you haven't checked out CSS, pretty cool. Fun fact: when I was really into them when I was living in Chicago and first started recording. And before I started recording Technology's a Dead Bird, there was a whole album. It was demos. Nothing was like done, but it was all like very influenced by CSS. I was like really into them. Brazilian. Yeah, that's right. Please come to Brazil. Is anyone here from Brazil? Anyone watching this or listening to this? Always wanted to go to Brazil. I had a couple friends in bands, and they would always talk about when they go to Brazil. They're like, yeah, it's like Beatlemania. Pretty cool. That was released on Sub Pop. Cool label. But after Karma on the playlist, it just, and that must have been produced by Jack Antonoff. Karma, Taylor Swift, Jack Antonoff. Am I right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 writers. One of them, Jack Michael Antonoff. I played a show in the same venue. They had multiple stages, same venue as Bleachers, his band. This is probably like 2017. And I believe it was in Philadelphia, if I remember correctly. And I was able to see a little bit of their set. They were headlining, obviously. And I was just like, okay. Look, he's one of the top producers in the world. Like he won. I just, every time I hear one of his productions, it seems like he has all of the best like synths and keyboards in the world, but manages to get cheesy sounds. It's like you listen to Tame Impala and was like, what keyboard does he use? Roland Juno? I need one of those. And then makes Taylor Swift songs. I wonder what that would sound like if I made a Taylor Swift song. That would never happen. So what came on after Karma, though, was Olivia Rodrigo, her new one, Vampire. Way better song. So much better. And yeah, it's got that cheese thing. It's got that post-Lorde, which I guess now is like post Billie Eilish thing on the vocal delivery, vocal production. But I do like what she's doing. There's a really cool moment in the melody. She has like a C-sharp dominant 7. Music people, correct me if I'm wrong there. Pretty sure it's a C-sharp 7. I always appreciate that. And just more, I think, more interesting lyrics. Way better singer. I know it's douchey to compare artists. Probably shouldn't do that, but hey, here we are. I was driving, heard Taylor Swift song, heard an Olivia Rodrigo song right after that. Pretty clear to me who's got the chops. Good for her. She came out of nowhere, huh? She must have been from like a TV show or something, right? She just looks like one of those people. High School Musical. See, there you go. They worked her through the pipeline. They always do that. Start you off as a kid. You know, for all of these accusations and stuff about, people being groomed and this and that, it's like, man, you never really heard about Disney executives, do you? Hey, let's take these kids, these elementary school students, and take over their entire life. Pretty strange. But then if you make a bunch of YouTube videos with someone, you're the bad guy. Bad guy, Billie Eilish. That was when that came out. I think that was when Bad Guy came out. I think that's the first time I felt old. Heard it on the radio. I remember where I was. I was driving down Magnolia in Burbank. And I was with a friend, and he's like, oh, this is that new Billie Eilish. I hadn't even heard of her. And he's like, yeah, this is the biggest song in the world right now. I'm like, huh. Shows what I know. And then I saw like the video, and I was like, oh, I've had dinner with her. True story. What was that place called? What's the really exclusive Hollywood Italian restaurant? What's that place called? Rouse? Can't remember. It was on Melrose. Anyway. Apparently they're as I'm recording this, there's a big UFO disclosure going on. I think it would be remarkable if there weren't aliens. What a bummer if we were the only intelligent life in the universe. That seems what did Carl Sagan and Cosmos, there's that famous clip, the Drake equation, which is like, there's a really classic clip in Carl Sagan's Cosmos from, I think it was the 80s. And he has this, I'm sure it's on YouTube, a probabilistic argument used to estimate the number of active communicative extraterrestrial civilizations in the Milky Way. The number of civilizations with which humans could communicate, the mean rate of star formation, fraction of stars that have planets, mean number of planets that could support life per star with planets, fraction of life supporting planets that develop life, fraction of planets with life where life develops intelligence, that's the big one, fraction of intelligent civilizations that develop communication, and mean length of time that civilizations can communicate. A lot of factors, but also a lot of space. I've just always thought there has to be something else out there. I'm not even convinced that this is what do they call it when you're on the main plane of reality? I don't. It seems like human beings, like we are so fixated on creating simulations. And it all started when, cavemen, cave women were writing. Hey.
Oh, are you shooting?
Yeah, I'm filming right now.
Oh, okay. Call me later.
Okay, I'll be done in like 15. Okay, bye. Edit here. I think it's called base reality, if I remember correctly. I'm not convinced that this is base reality. It started with the cave people drawing on a cave wall. And then you had, I suppose, writing on papyrus, which eventually, got to paper, the printing press, the radio, the television, the internet. Now we have virtual reality. And it seems to me if we can simulate reality, even in a video game. I remember being probably, when did Grand Theft Auto 3 come out? I was probably in 7th grade, maybe 8th grade. And I remember for the first time thinking, well, wait a second. What if the NPCs in this game think that they are at base reality? That would make me the observer and the character I'm controlling in there. I just remember being a kid and thinking that, and it completely blew my mind. So then, that's around the time I started getting anxiety too. Very strange thought. So aliens, I think they're interdimensional. If you've experimented at all with any sort of psychedelics, I have communicated. I think they're angels and demons, that spirit realm. That was in 2019, before my life changed big time. I had a crazy experience with psilocybin in the desert. And I was kind of an atheist before that. But after that night, I was like, nope. I now believe in a higher power. If you've never done psychedelics, it's not for everyone. But wow, did that change my perspective on reality. And I also came to the realization, it's like, wow, I'm not actually in love with this person. So tread lightly. I think she probably had the same realization too. Fun times, but we'll see what they release in regards to the aliens. It's all coming out really fast right now. I'll have to. That'll be next week. We'll catch up on that. The Milky Way galaxy. I highly recommend watching Cosmos if you haven't seen that. When I was I was probably 26, 27 maybe. No, 26. And I read Cosmos by Carl Sagan. It was a series, but it was also a book. And I was a stoner. And I read the book and I would just go out and just stare at the moon. There was a really beautiful, the most recent full moon we had, that optical illusion happened where the moon looks like it's huge. I love that. It looks really cool. But yeah, I had a mini existential crisis at the age of 26. I think the substance that I inhaled, I don't think it was what I was told it was. Crazy night. That was a different thing. But I do think reading Cosmos kind of led towards the paranoia involved in that very difficult evening. And it was like 3 months after too. I was like, oh no, I'm not going to be normal anymore. That's the thing. You hear about that. I know some people. It's crazy. You can just put a piece of paper on your tongue and communicate with the spirit realm. And some people just don't really come back from that. But maybe I never came back from it. I've wondered that. The first real big trip I had. I mean, it changed me, but I think for the better. And then I was 28, maybe 29. And I had a really deep trip. And it solidified, a couple, maybe a year or so, a couple of years earlier. It just dissolved my ego to the extent where it was just like 8 hours of angels and demons just asking me, like, why can't you just love more? And why don't you love yourself? And love is the only thing you truly need, but you're pushing it away. And that really helped. That helped to get me out of my cynicism, which I'm I think I still have a healthy amount of cynicism, but the older I get, the more I will give people the benefit of the doubt. And when I was younger and just like on fire and just wanted to be like the biggest director, the biggest producer, and do all these things, and then ultimately like achieving this ridiculous goal that I thought I needed to do or thought that I wanted. And years later, you look back at that stuff and it's like, oh man, so much time wasted. But as I said in the genesis of this series, you're not starting over, you're starting from experience. When I heard that really changed my perspective. And then ultimately being in a relationship for the first time as an adult, where the person actually likes you, loves you, you're allowed to actually hold hands in public. Wow. And then having a beautiful baby boy. There's a really great song. Let's see. Oh, you know what? I forgot this week to write down and collect all of the user questions. We'll get to that next week. Well, this one just kind of came in. I know someone asked me if I had heard of Sturgill Simpson. I was like, whoa, yes, actually, yes. And Sturgill Simpson was the first. I was late to the game. I don't know if I would even consider him country. He's a little all over the place, which I like that, because when I make music, I always want to try something new, and that's seemingly what Sturgill Simpson does. But the first artist I ever gave like a shot, everyone's heard Garth Brooks and George Strait, Johnny Cash, Waylon Jennings, Dolly, Loretta, etc. Good old Hank. But I only, it'd be like if I was at a bar and All My Exes Live in Texas came on, that kind of thing. But I never listened to done a deep dive, and the door that opened for me was someone recommended Sturgill Simpson to me. I was like, oh, and I think it was probably metamodern sounds in country music. If you haven't, even if you don't like country, I recommend listening to that. Whole album is really good. I think most people probably know him. He just did a track with Diplo. Most people know him probably. He covered The Promise. I promise you. A song from I'm Sorry, the right thing to say. That one's on Metamodern Sounds. But he also has a Nirvana cover of In Bloom, and maybe start there. But I think he's really, really great, and that led me to. I got really, really into the outlaw country stuff, and ultimately to John Prine, Townes Van Zandt. And then I think my most listened to artist this year, again, is going to be Hank Williams. I think that was my last year. Spotify gives you the end of the year wrap up. No, this year it's probably going to be the Itsy Bitsy Spider. You should see my YouTube history. I get nothing but recommendations for, and my Amazon, and all of my, the algorithms we got him. He needs batteries. Yeah, good stuff. But the reason I brought up Sturgill Simpson is because He has a song called Welcome to Earth. And I cry every time I listen to it. I was driving yesterday or 2 days ago, and that came on, and I got choked up, and I had to pretend like I wasn't crying. That's just, I went like a decade without crying. My 20s, I don't know if I cried once. And ever since becoming a father, I just cry all the time now. Happy cries. Which I think are good. This whole thing, oh, guys aren't supposed to cry. Like, that did me no good. That was not healthy. But he says something in Welcome to Earth. Pretty funny. First thing I ever said to my son, welcome to the planet. First thing I said to him. I wanted to read the lyrics, but even reading them, if I read them, I'm going to cry. I'll get it out really quick. Hello, my son. Emotionless. Hello, my son. Welcome to Earth. May not be my last, but you'll always be my first. Gonna get through this without crying. This is the lyric that always gets me. Wish I'd done this 10 years ago. Did it. But how could I know? So true. So true. That album's great too. Welcome to Earth, Polywog is off of A Sailor's Guide to Earth. Really cool stuff. I hope you dig it. I just think more people should get into that. I never thought I would be a fan of country music, and it's wild. Like for like 3 years, that's like all I've listened to, and yacht rock. So surprise, surprise, that's the music I'm making. But with a little Titanic Sinclair twist. Fun stuff. All right. Well, hey, has it really been an hour already? I got to drink more water, fill this up. Merchandise available, titanicsinclair.bandcamp.com. Click the merch button, 25% off. I've got the code still going. There's a couple shirts and hoodies left. I think stuff is selling out. 25% off if you use the code We Are Back Baby. And new merch is in production, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very excited about that. Hopefully you have a good week. Well, weekend. I hope you had a good week. And I hope I've supplied you with interesting things to listen to, watch, experience, ponder. And we will be back next week with another new episode. I'm really enjoying doing these. I like it in front of the white. I feel like it's more. I used to do it in front of a black backdrop with one, moody light. For that time in my life, it made sense. But we're wearing linen. Did you ever think you would see your main man wearing linen? Because I didn't. Thank you so much for watching. Why not share this with someone? Or better yet, send a Spotify link to a friend and say, hey, I like this. That's my promotional move there. Anyway, appreciate you. Unlike Doja Cat, I do love you. You're not creepy. What'd you call them? Creepy, crazy? I don't know. The artists are, and I like to consider myself a producer now, not an artist. I like to produce things. And I'm not a fan of not being nice to fans. So cool. All over the place today. Love you very much. We'll see you next week. You take care.